All right, boys and girls, back here, part two. Part two. Deuce. All right, so again, what we're doing here is we're looking at some of the homework problems uh, from page 579. Again, I'm going to go through them step by step. We're going to pick up number 14 where we had to do Heron's method. Um, if you've already solved it, and you can follow step by step, and at some point, if our work differs, fix it, press the pause button, and try and complete it on your own. And then come back to me, all right? Don't let me spoil the fun for you. Don't let me do the whole problem for you, all right? So here we are, number 14, r squared minus 4r equals 30. They've already done step one and moved the c value over for us. So the next thing we have to do is we have to figure out what our new c value will be to complete the square. Again, the magic formula is b over 2 quantity squared. So in this case, our b value is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 2 would be negative 2. Negative 2 squared is just going to give us 4. Okay, so our new c value is 4. Right, so I add 4 to both sides. What I do to one side, that's right, you got to do to the other side. Okay, so we add 4 to both sides, and then we look to simplify, okay? I simplify the right side simply here. And this is my perfect square trinomial on the left side. That's what we're aiming for. And this is what it simplifies to. Hopefully you got to that. That should not have been too difficult. All right, so from there, again, what we have on the left side is we have something being squared on the left side. It's all by itself on the left side, right? Everything on the left side is in this quantity being squared. So that's a sign for us to, it's a signal for us to take the square root. Okay, and my square root sign is a little bit iffy here. But if I take the square root of both sides, take the square root of 34, I take the square root of this, I end up with, anytime we take the square root here, square root of something being squared, you're left with just the item being squared, the quantity being squared. So we have r minus 2 equals the square root of 34, and oh no! 34 is not a perfect square. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to use Heron's method. Okay, so I couldn't write that out using, it would have been a little tricky, so I'm going to write that out for you guys. Here, so again, because it wouldn't let me do fractions very well with the typing it, so we'll write it out. So again, Heron's method is going to be 1/2, and what we got to do is we have to approximate the square root of 34, so we approximate that to be 6. Okay, and we're going to average that with, take the actual number, 34, over our approximation. Okay, we've got to combine these two things in here. So let's get a common denominator. 6, we can actually make this 36 over 6. To give it a common denominator, right? That's the same thing as 6. Okay, and now we add these, we should get 70 over 6. And that is inside the parentheses, and that'll be multiplied by 1/2. Multiply that by 1/2, we end up with 70 over 12. Then we got to do our long division. So I'll do my long division over here. Let's change colors for that so we don't get confused here. 12 into 70. 12 times 5 is 60. Comes out as 10. Okay, 12 into 100 is going to give us 8. So I can't forget my decimal there. Make that bigger so we don't lose it. Okay, 12 times 8 is 96. And then 4. Okay, it's going to be 3. 12 times 3 is 36. And you'll see what's going to happen here. We're going to get a repeating 40 here, so it's a repeating 3. So they want us to round to the nearest hundredths, we said, when we're dealing with Heron. So really, when we come out with Heron's, what we end up here is 5.83 is what we'll round to. All right, and that's, again, plus or minus. And on the left side, we still have our r minus 2. Okay, so take Heron's, that's what you should end up with. Hopefully you guys worked out with that. You guys did well on those practice problems in class. All right, so here's what we got. R minus 2 equals 5.83. R minus 2 equals negative 5.83. Add 2 to both sides here. Add 2 to both sides. Okay, it's going to give you 7.83. Negative 5.83 plus 2. Different signs, right? So take the difference and take the sign of the bigger one there. So it should be negative 3.83. There's your two solutions right there, okay? If you got this one correct on your own, let out a big woohoo! Alright, feel good about yourself. That was not an easy one, but very much manageable if you really got it. Let's take a look. Let's move on. Let's look at number 16. Here's our original. Okay, here it's in standard form. So, let's kick the 35 over. It's negative here, so it'll be positive over here. To get our new C value, again, half of B. Half of B. So we're talking about negative 2 over 2, right? B over 2, quantity squared. So negative 2 over 2 is just negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 will just give me 1. So 1 is our new C value. Seems pretty easy, hopefully, right? So plus 1 on both sides. This side, the right side, simplifies to 36. Over here we've got our perfect square trinomial. Take the square root of here, right? And we take the sine of B. So we got the quantity of A minus 1 squared. And so from here, this is where we got to take the square root. Okay, take the square root of both sides. Square root's here. The square root cancels out this exponent to the 2. We got A minus 1 equals 6. A minus 1 equals negative 6. Right? Add 1 to both sides, which is due to one side. That's right, due to the other. Same thing over here. Plus 1 plus 1. We should see this should work out pretty well. This has probably been the easiest one of all of them so far. Okay? So A equals 7 here, and over here A equals negative 5. So again, those are your two x-intercepts. If we graphed this parabola, these would be our x-intercepts. Alright? Sweet. Let's take a look at number 18. Last one you had to do for homework. Here we go. This 13, we cannot, let's say if we want to do this by completing the square. And if we tried to factor that, you really could if you wanted to. Right? But we're working on completing the square, so let's do that. Okay? Move the 13 over. Becomes negative 13. Okay? And then when we take half of this, half of this would be 7. Square that, you get 49. So we add 49 to both sides. Okay? And then we got this. Okay? The quantity of w minus 7 squared equals 36. All right, let's take the square root of both sides. Again, taking the square root of something squared will unlock the exponent there. So we got w minus 7 equals 6, w minus 7 equals negative 6, and this should be pretty straightforward for us. Over here, we're going to go plus 7. Plus 7, 6 plus 7 is 13. Plus 7 over here, negative 6 plus 7 will give us positive 1. There's your two answers. So again, if you graphed this, then you would get these as your x-intercepts. Again, if you go back to our original factoring rules, just so you can see what we're talking about here. If we go back to our original factoring rules, we were making the chart, right? Factors of C, so factors of 13 that make a sum that combine to be negative 14. 13 doesn't have too many factors, right? So you're talking about 13 and 1. In this case, if we make it negative 13 and negative 1, they multiply. These numbers multiply to give us positive 13. These numbers combine to give us negative 14. So remember, this is how we started out dealing with quadratics and solving quadratics, trying to factor them first. Okay? And then this would be our winning combination. Say, hey, x minus 13 times the quantity of x minus 1 equals 0. Okay? And then we used our zero product rule. We said, hey, x can be 13, and x can be 1. Well, look. See how it works out? So it works out either way. Most people will agree that factoring is easier than completing the square. But again, sometimes we just can't factor. So that's why having completing square in our arsenal of skills is so valuable as mathematicians. All right. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully you guys did pretty well on the homework. If, uh, if you were able to get every single one correct, 7 through 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, give yourself a round of applause. Woo! All right. Hey, if you got, the only one you got wrong was number 13, you should still feel pretty proud about yourself. That was a pretty tough one. That's definitely the toughest one. And even if you got 13 and 14, if you got those are the only two you got wrong, you were able to get 7 through 12 and 16 through 18, if those make sense to you and you did them well, still a very good job, okay? We'll do some more practice with these in class. Hopefully now, even ones as tough as 13 and 14 become a walk in the park for you. Nice and easy. I'll see you guys in class. Hope this helped.